To consider the possibility that the Indiana Fever are in on the plot to destroy Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White is an idiot.
Indiana Fever supporters are sick of being polite. They've been patient enough. On all social networking sites, one demand is also becoming more and more common. Get Stephanie White out and Larry Bird in.
The cash cow. She is box office. When she plays, the ratings go up, revenue goes up, interest goes up. When she doesn't play, it plummets. 36% drop in the ratings for All-Star Weekend for the WNBA a few weeks ago. Last year, she didn't miss a game. This year, she missed 17 games. This is a person that everything she touches with women's basketball turns to gold. They didn't have chartered jets until she arrived. She arrived, they had chartered jets 2 minutes later.
Now, before you accuse me of being too dramatic, remember that this is not a novel argument. There is a lot of frustration with this team. There are major issues with how Caitlin Clark, who is arguably the most important player in women's basketball right now, is treated, used, and, to be honest, acknowledged inside this program. Once you've put everything out, you might discover that you agree with every single one of them. Let's begin now. What exactly is going on? What's driving Fever fans crazy? Most importantly, is Larry Bird a genuine possibility?
And the Fever fans. So let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100 like a Ben Frank. You hear me? So let me ask y'all again. Is Stephanie White a good coach? A great coach? I'm waiting. No, she not. Not even close. If anything, she puts a star in the offense. She's sucking the life out of the team, out of the franchise. And Kelly Krostoff, whatever her name is, Lyndon, you hear me? They all.
If you have recently been in close proximity to Fever content on the internet, you are fully aware of the temperature. Supporters are passionate. This time, the trigger is a pattern. It's a simple idea held by supporters that this pattern has been there since Stephanie White took over as coach. Stephanie White's squad does not revolve around Caitlin Clark, and her fan base thinks that's the only thing she needs to do.
He's the sole reason, period. I'm tired of people saying, oh, it just happened. It was just a coincidence. Oh, it was already trending up. Let's just even look at this chart behind us. These are all the years in the past, 12, 13 years? And that's 500K. These numbers, for the most part, weren't even close to 500K. When Caitlin comes, look at what happens. Don't tell me Caitlin ain't the reason. Caitlin is the reason why they just got that money they just got. Caitlin is the reason why they staying in amazing hotels. Caitlin is the reason why they getting all the stuff that they got. All the charting the flights. Literally.
To understand why this is so crucial right now, you must remember what the Indiana Fever are. This team hasn't won championships in decades. This team lacks talent at every position. The cornerstone of this team's entire present and future is Caitlin Clark. She's the reason the arenas are packed. She is the reason why the TV ratings look the way they do. The Fever is even being considered as a potential contender because of her. Fans know this. The league wants to know if Stephanie White is aware of this.
One priority was to land Kelsey in free agency again. Just how important was she to your team this year? How important has she been to the Fever? Obviously, the 8 years she's been with the franchise, and how badly do you want to keep her around?
I mean, yeah, she was the number one priority a year ago, and she's the number one priority this year. She's been so important. And, I said this last year, Kelsey deserves to go through this stage of her Indiana Fever career. She's been through sort of the worst of the worst, for lack of a better term, in and out of the building. Growing pains with getting the organization back. You don't get back-to-back number one picks unless you've been at the bottom for a while, right? And she showed up like a pro every day, and she just continues to work and continues to grow, and she carried the franchise, and she carries the teams in different ways.
At this point, the frustration really got out of hand. As Stephanie White has said, Kelsey Mitchell is a crucial part of her plans for this Indiana Fever club. To be clear, nobody is saying that Kelsey Mitchell is a bad player. She deserves her position because she is a true scorer. But as soon as you start building the offense around Kelsey Mitchell's needs instead of the player who just got back from injury, won an MVP award abroad, and is a co-favorite to win the WNBA MVP award in 2026. You no longer own the room.
There appears to be major decisions ahead of the Indiana Fever front office, Amber Cox, Kelly Krauskopf, and head coach Stephanie White. And the truth be told, we don't trust any of them based on the blunders that they made last offseason. And it appears the Indiana Fever might make the crucial mistake, and maybe it's not even a mistake on their end. Stephanie White has already come out and said how Kelsey Mitchell is the #1 priority and how she wants to build this team around Kelsey Mitchell. And if they are committing to giving her a multi-year max contract, they've officially chose Kelsey Mitchell over Caitlin.
Fans can't get over this. Prior to the start of the 2026 season, decisions are already being made that seem to suggest Clark will have to fit within a system rather than be its leader. Fans watched the results of the FIBA tournament in Puerto Rico, where Clark led the offense, handled the ball mostly, and had total autonomy. She was in command. When she returned, the oddsmakers immediately named her a co-favorite for WNBA MVP because she was so outstanding. When Clark is fully trusted and given space to breathe, she looks like that. Therefore, when Stephanie White declares that Kelsey Mitchell is a primary priority while Clark is returning from an 8-month rehabilitation, fans are more than just annoyed. They sincerely want to know if this instructor is conscious of her true abilities.
In this league, that there's still so much in her, and you know, I tell her every day, like, I love being her coach, and I want to.
Okay, I don't see it as building a team around Kelsey Mitchell, but I just don't like her words because it does sound like, oh, we gotta give her the chance to lead the team and stuff like that, and like it's a rite of passage, like it's a born right or something for her. Lady, the reason why you came to the Fever wasn't because of Kelsey Mitchell, ding dong. The main reason why you came to the Fever is because of Caitlin Clark. Let's keep it a buck. That's the same thing with Kelly Krauskopf and all these goons like Amber Heard and all them jokers all came for Caitlin Clark. If Caitlin Clark was not there, would she flock to the Indiana Fever after the Connecticut Sun run? No, she wouldn't. So stop this nonsense about priority this, priority that. Okay?
You must travel back to 2026 in order to comprehend the source of this rage. Caitlin Clark played in 13 games during the previous season. 13. In those 13 games, she averaged 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5.0 rebounds. When she was playing, the Fever was a different team. The structure exudes a certain liveliness. The offensive had a pulse. She then collapsed. She suffered from a left quad strain, a right groin strain, and a left groin strain. She claimed that the bone bruise on her left ankle was one of the worst sprains she had ever had. Eventually, as she watched from the sidelines, she was helpless to stop the Fever's incredible run to Game 5 of the WNBA semifinals. She must have been upset that she wasn't playing even though she was supporting her teammates. Sports injuries happen these days. Although Stephanie White is not being held directly accountable for the injuries, this is when things become complicated and people start to take notice.
With Caitlin, but, you know, I think first and foremost, you know, as she builds up her endurance, her on-the-court activity, you know, making sure that she's healthy, and then continuing to move forward in terms of mechanics, number one, you know, and number two, basketball. You know, she's got to, at some point in this off season, play 5-on-5. It's going to have been a long time since she has, and so how we get that together, we'll have to see. We'll continue to have those conversations, but you know, once she's feeling good from a movement standpoint, from a soreness standpoint, you know, and then building back that endurance on the floor without losing some of those, you know, mechanical tweaks and mechanical improvements, then we'll start building back up.
White was often questioned about Clark's health management during the 2025 season. Her answers were always measured and professional. She recommended taking things one step at a time. She talked about protecting Clark's long-term health. She talked about not rushing things. And again, when considered separately, those are the right answers. You shouldn't rush a player back, that's what coaching is all about. However, even when Clark was available and returning, Fans saw a situation where she seemed to be handled with a great level of caution that sometimes felt like reluctance. They also questioned whether the approach would be the same if this player were the star of any other team. When you only play 13 games in a season and the team around you makes it to the semifinals, you start to wonder what would have occurred if the star had been better protected from the start, managed more sensibly throughout the season, and built around more strategically from day one.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Now's not the time. Now's not the time for random side quests and adventures and side gigs, okay? We need everybody all in, 100% focused on the task at hand. We need everybody paying attention to details, being detail-oriented, and getting it right. Stephanie White, we don't have time for these random side quests that you are now doing right before the season is about to start. It's already a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of catch-up to be done to build this team up around Caitlin Clark, to make the right decisions in this offseason, one starting with the critical Kelsey Mitchell decision, draft decisions, and you are running around doing side quests.
It may have gone unnoticed by casual fans, but Fever's devoted devotees did not. Throughout the 2025 season, Stephanie White made several decisions to test Clark at small forward. Caitlin Clark's job limited her ability to scan the floor, lead an offense, and be the main ball handler, skills that form the basis of her entire game. Furthermore, the data supports what supporters saw with their own eyes. You can't average 8 assists per game from a small forward position. You can't use your playmaking to change games from a position where the ball hardly ever reaches your hands. Clark's value is at its highest when she is the primary decision-maker, the offense revolves around her, and she is the engine. It's not a preference. Every time Clark has been given that role, whether it be in a college setting, an international tournament, or one of the few WNBA games where she had total autonomy, the evidence clearly shows that. The results are always the same. Because Caitlin Clark is so gifted, Fever fans want to see her perform at her best every night.
Was any precursor to what Caitlin Clark is going to do in year 3? You know what? I don't blame Brianna Stewart, Brianna Turner, Nafisa Collier, Aneka Ogwumike if they say themselves, we can't get beat like this. This girl is coming for revenge. She's coming with a chip on her shoulder. It's going to be a reckoning. As my mom would say, it's going to be a rude awakening. Year 3 with a healthy Caitlin Clark. I wouldn't have known she took 200 days to recover. I wouldn't have known the last time that we saw Caitlin Clark play basketball was what? July? I'd have no idea. This was a masterclass.
The FIBA Americas tournament was the ideal illustration of what Fever fans have been saying. Clark was the greatest player on the court as soon as he returned to a competitive international situation following an 8-month absence. She was given the role of point guard. She was given the ball. There was no experimentation with her. She wasn't made to play a smaller role to accommodate someone else's shot volume. She was only allowed to be Caitlin Clark. And the result? After she won national MVP, the oddsmakers promptly declared her a co-favorite for the 2026 WNBA MVP award. That competition was one direct data point. It proved to the world that Clark was back. It proved that her injuries had not caused her to lose anything. It also showed Fever fans that everything works when Clark is the main focus. Whether Stephanie White saw what everyone else saw and whether, in light of that, she made the right choice before the